So I'm 24 years old, turned 24 in March of this year, and I've never had a best friend. And this when I made this realization, it really um, baffled me because I've had girlfriends. Um, Longest relationship was about 4 years, a little shy. We lived together too, so I've been very close to people, and I've known certain people very closely. And I've had very close friends too, but I've never truly had a best friend. And if we're going to define what a best friend is, my definition is just a friend that is that chooses that's not romantic. Let's get that out the way, and that chooses you first. Um, so if there is a a hangout, maybe he picks you up first. Like it's just a friend that you value over all your other friends, right? And I've never had that, and I don't know what it is. I thought I've had it in the past, but those friendships would last about 2 to 3 years, and usually the person, and I'm not saying that person is bad, but usually the person had something to gain out of my friendship. Maybe they saw something that could provide for them, or maybe I was just the right time, right place, and I matched the vibe that they were going for. But it was never really me, right? It was never just you are my friend because you are who you are. It was just what can you do for me? What do you provide? Kind of mentality, and you never see that while you're in the middle of that friendship. It's always at the very end when they make it very clear, and that's why a lot of my past friendships aren't as close anymore. And I think I still am friends with anyone I called friends in the past, but never had a best friend. And especially now in 2026, I think it's hard to find this kind of friendship. Um, People are very soulless, right? If you knew me in person, um, you would say that I'm a very outgoing, very social person. So I invite people in my circle, whether how far or how deep you are in that circle is relevant, right? You'll probably get an invite if I know your name at some point. And I'm not saying this to brag like I have things going on. I genuinely look for things to do. I genuinely look for things to new things to do that isn't just rotting in your bed or anything like that. But people nowadays don't want to do anything, right? I would invite people. We just had recently the NBA Finals, the Knicks versus the Spurs. There was 5 games being played. I think 3 of the 5 games, I invited people out, and only a fraction of the people invited came out. And there's World Cup games. There's UFC fights. I think we just had one at the White House. I don't watch every sport, but these are just events I would be down to watch with. And I think it's twofold. I think it's people are soulless. They have no desire. They think whatever they're doing at home has merit. They think finishing that movie or finishing that series, finishing that video game, knowing everything there is to know, geeking out over whatever games, anime, whatever. They feel like that is more productive than real life, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And one person, it's kind of very, it's very rooted because someone gave me a perspective today. We were going home on our way back to work from lunch, and he said that because of the phones, kids aren't doing the ridiculous things we used to do. And I'm 24, so I when I was in elementary school and middle school, it wasn't normal for everyone just to have phones, right? But now everyone has phones. But what I am saying is that people are growing up differently, and that effect is cascading upwards, right? So kids aren't kids are shy now, right? When I was a kid, there was a kid that used to like pull his pants down. His name was Ricky at the school bus, and he used to call it the Ricky Dicky Show, right? And it was hilarious when I was a kid. We were in like fourth grade, and we thought it was the funniest thing ever. But kids aren't doing that kind of things anymore because they're scared that someone's gonna film them and they're gonna get suspended or expelled, which they probably will. But you have to admit there was some level of excitement and adrenaline that comes from those kind of activities, right? And people aren't doing them anymore because they're so scared of being filmed and whatnot. And you see that in the bars and clubs too. If you're of drinking age and you go out, people aren't dancing. People aren't dancing with each other. People aren't doing anything. No one's doing anything. Jesus, everyone's soulless. And I think it really is this cascading effect of social stigma, being scared of social stigma, being scared of being called corny, cringe. I think that's all it is. And going back to having no best friends, I think I missed the boat or something. I mean, missed the bus, right? I think I missed the bus, right? People who found their best friends, they're usually, I envy them, because it's very hard to find one now. No one wants to do anything. I mean, I have a close friend right now. He's going through what I thought was a breakup, but he's clinging on to this past life of his what I think is his ex, but they're communicating. But I I really hope he knows what he's doing. Chances are he doesn't. Um, and I try to be his friend. And I just know he moved here from a different state, so I just know he doesn't really have anyone here. And when I reach out and he doesn't make any effort, and keep in mind we're close friends. I've known him as long as I've known him as long as he's been here in Jacksonville, Florida, is where I'm staying at, and it genuinely hurts me trying to form a relationship with him, and he just he just wants to stay so surface level. And I understand if he had everything else going, but it's like I know where he's at because I've been there, right? I've had those recent breakups, and I know where you can just be so stuck in your own mind. Um, but maybe that is this one event that is really causing me to make this video, is that I really wish that I was closer friends with this one friend I have now, and it just doesn't work, right? And he's not the first that didn't work. Surely won't be the last. Um, but I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me if you've ever had a best friend, or if you've never had a best friend. Um, just very, very saddening to me. But let me know, guys.